Shoutout, Sniper T on the beat.
Tamara to the break of dawn is on the rise, with life on the forefront of the mind. So line for line, you can ride this brain train and you can change your station without even touching the dial. So relax, stay a little bit, but listen for a while. And whether you're bumping this in the whip or in a business fit, it's a meeting you won't want to miss. A meeting for a meal to feed the soul with words for the mind. So sit back, enjoy the ride. Time to take off, it's time to fly. Cause Tamara till the break of dawn is on the rise.
Hey y'all, hey, welcome to the show. It's me, Tamara. So, episode 93, y'all. That is wild to me as I really think about the fact that I'm only 7 episodes from episode 100. And I'm not going to pretend I have this whole thing planned because I have things planned. Like I have the karaoke battle coming up in October. So that'll be Monday, October 4th. I cannot remember what time off the top of my head, so just stay tuned for that. Competing is Chris from Shenanigans with Friends, Baylor from BTG for President, Open Run with BTG, a lot of other things. But you also, if you're a regular, should know him from the Power recap shows that he and Cedric and I do, and also the movie tiers. So he's pretty much like a co-host once a month on this show. And then Ivan from Views from the Seven podcast. So Spence was on as a guest almost a year ago, and he's from Views from the Seven. So Ivan is one of the co-hosts. The energy of the three of them, like even just as we're planning it, and just the level of competition that they have is just going to be so dope. So I'm super excited for that. Again, that's October. I don't think I'm going to have a September live show. I think podcast happy hour kind of may be just the monthly live right now while I'm trying to get my business going. I actually had my first client, you know what I'm saying? And so by the time this airs, I'll have finished, but I'm currently finishing up that project. And so with all these things, I'll have my own live shows, but it's not about to be every month like I was doing at first. It'll be like something special here and there because, again, I want it to be like an event, not just recording a show. But podcast happy hours coming up. Audrey will be hosting it. We don't have a date set, but that'll be sometime this month in September because we do it every month. Let's see what else. My 2-year anniversary is coming up in November. That is wild. It's wild to say I'm about to have 100 episodes because y'all know who have been here from day one or wherever you came in. Which, let me back up, okay? Because I just kind of got right into it. If you're new, thank you so much for tuning in. New episodes drop every Thursday, so come on back through. All my regular listeners, preachers, y'all know it wouldn't be me without messing up in a show. But all my regular listeners, I appreciate your support. Thank you so much. If you're not, you should be following me on social media. So the link to my Twitter and Instagram is in the episode notes. Let's see. Oh, weekly podcast shout out. See, I done just got all into it and I didn't even do none of my regular stuff. So this week it's the Friday night music party, and basically this is somebody I met in a retweet group. Hold on, maybe if I drink something I won't be struggling. But I met him in a retweet group, and every Friday at 6:30 Eastern he does a Twitch music stream. And so definitely check him out. It's from what I can tell, because I haven't actually been able to join one, but it looks like it's a bunch of different genres of music. So it's not just one thing, but I retweet it every Friday. And so if you happen to, or just follow him and then you could stay up on it yourself. But the link to his website will be in the episode notes. Okay, let's get back to what I was saying. It's wild to me that I'm coming up on episode 100. It's wild to me that I'm already knowing that I'm coming up on 2 years, because if you've been with me for the whole stretch of this journey, we know that consistency has been something I've struggled with, especially with creative projects. Even with blogging, I do that every week, which the link to my website is in the episode notes. So if you want to check out my blog, every Monday at 5, I switched it to 5. It used to be noon, but just to give me more time in case I don't write it the day before, I could write it after work. You know what I mean? But either way, every Monday at 5, blog drops, and the link to that is in the episode notes. But it's kind of crazy that I've been doing this as long as I've been doing it, because I mean, we know consistency was an issue for me in the past, and obviously, just little by little, day by day, I've continue to just grow in consistency really in all things. And then the good thing is that the foundation I set with that, with podcasting, never anticipated starting a company, but a lot of even the content creator efficiencies I've learned, I've kind of been able to translate that to my business. So it's really cool just to have these kind of larger milestones that are coming up. We'll see what I do for episode 100, because there's just so many things going on right now that um, it's just interesting trying to plan for what. As I said a little bit ago, secured my first official client last week, and so I'm finishing up that project. That was just, I mean, obviously the goal is to get to a place of working for myself, no longer having my, because I still have a full-time job, but just having that first client is like this huge, just it's super encouraging. And then as I'm doing the work, I'm like, yes, I really, really enjoy doing this, creating a document for somebody to have all their, not all their processes, because it's not a super detailed one that I'm doing, but still I love this. I love helping people be more efficient. My SOP, standard operating procedure manual, is like a 26-page manual of very detailed how we do our processes for my company. And so there's my role, which is all me right now, but it's broken down to 3 roles: the owner, the account coordinator, and the consultant. Because at some point I'd like to grow and hire employees. And so this is what everyone will do. Mine is a training tool, so that when people are hired, yes, there's training, but I also think there needs to be a document that they can fall back on, so that they can kind of just be more self-sufficient with working and not have to ask you questions for every little thing, unless they, need clarification. So super exciting just to have this first client. And then the next phase that I'm going to roll out, and it's interesting because I was going to do this in a different order, but I actually decided that I'm going to roll out one of the coaching phases next. So it's actually going to be content creator efficiencies will be the next phase to roll out sometime this month. I'm just finishing up documents, because I want to have everything that I feel like I need ready, so that when I accept a client, all I have to do is do the work, not create things to do the work. And I am a person that is all about efficiency. So my goal is to have that launched by this month. More to come on that. So with that, it's really just, new people who are getting into content creating. There are a lot of things with branding, marketing, promotion, professional etiquette, networking, and stuff that you just don't know. Some people don't even know how to use Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that. And I take that for granted, because these are all things that I know and learned on my own. Branding and all that, you wouldn't have known that I had knowledge about that, um based on the way that I used to promote and market my show. But as you can see with my company, if you follow my company page, So if you're not, you should, just because there's inspirational stuff or memes or whatever. I do teachings every week on different topics. So it's just good content to consume, even if you're not trying to hire me or whatever. But the link to that is at my website. So if you go to my website, which is in the episode notes, at the top of the page, there's a Facebook and Instagram button. So if you just click on that, that'll actually take you to my company's Instagram and Facebook. But I have, like, on Mondays, I do this, Tuesdays, I do that, and I have things set out. And while, yes, I have a brand and a structure for my show, because I am my brand, it's my life and the ways I'm trying to grow. It's not like every week we do, I don't have really a set schedule for episodes. I have things that I touch on. I have certain things that I make sure I point out every episode about, mental health, being healthy and stuff like that. But it's kind of just whatever, because I like it to be like that, because it's most reflective of me. But as my company, it's a little bit different. So that's kind of the next phase, the whole point of me telling y'all all that. The next phase is content creator efficiencies coaching. That's the title that I came up with it, because I don't want people to think that I'm teaching you how to create content. That's something that's got to be in you. You already got to have that creative thing. I'm not trying to teach anybody to do that. I've just always had to have a creative outlet. So even there are times that I may feel like, dang, I don't know what I want to talk about. It's not because I don't have anything to talk about. I just don't know, what. But now we're getting to the point, I just might have an idea, and whatever comes out, comes out. But the beautiful thing with my show is that it's about my life and the ways I'm trying to grow. So as I always say, I can only give y'all what I got. And I appreciate those of you that come here for that, and you want to hear about my life, and you want to hear about whatever, because though I may add things to, because I want to try new things, because that's just who I am as a person, it's never dictated by really what anybody else says I should do. I don't let other people determine how I'm going to structure my shows or my live shows or any of that, because this is a reflection of me and what I want and how I want to do it. And as I've said a long time ago, I've always been a part of other people's, spoken word or poetry events and how they want it in their vision. And that's great, because I appreciated that they opened up their platform and thought of me to have me come do a spoken word. And I've had many, many opportunities for that. But now that this is my thing and it's my vision, and I'm a solo podcaster as well, so I don't really have to consider co-hosts often. When I change things or when I add things, it's kind of like, I want to add this, I want to include this. You know what I'm saying? So this is, I don't even know why I'm telling y'all that. So let's see what else. Okay. So for my birthday, my auntie sent me some weight loss tea, snatched 40s, you feel me? This really nice glass tea pot thing, which I posted it on Instagram a while ago. And what I didn't know what it was at first, but it was some sea moss, okay? Now, let me tell you how this went. Auntie, I love you. If you happen to hear this, thank you so much for thinking of me. So I get the box. I knew she had sent me a birthday present. I didn't know what it was because I didn't ask. Anybody who says they're going to send me something, I'm just like, okay, I'm appreciative that you just thought of me. So I get the box and I'm like, okay, the weight loss tea, it was easy to see that that's what it was. The tea pot thing, it was easy to see that that's what it was. And then there's this jar, this mason jar with this substance inside of it. And so I opened it because I'm like, I wonder what this is. And I smelled it. Okay. And y'all, it really smells like the sea, but I didn't know what it was. So I was just like, ugh. I love you, Auntie, but this is how it went. If you happen to hear this, I was like, ugh, what is this? And then I have Janae smell it, and she's like, ugh. And then my mom, she's like laughing at us, and she's like, well, I don't want no parts of that if y'all saying it stinks. And so I'm like, well, this can't be food. Like, this can't be something that I'm supposed to eat because it does not smell edible. My mom's like, well, maybe it spoiled. And I'm like, well, why would she send me something like blah, blah, blah. And so again, though, I'm super grateful, especially with the weight loss tea and the tea thing, because that's something that I knew what it was. So I text her and I'm like, hey, Auntie, got the gifts. Thank you so much. Probably threw in some heart emojis, you know what I'm saying? A little razzle dazzle. And then I'm like, what's in the jar? Because I'm not expecting her to say it's something that I'm supposed to eat, you know what I'm saying? But I also don't know what it is. So then she's like, it's sea moss. And I was like, oh, okay. And she's telling me all the benefits and this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, okay. She tells me how I can prepare it, keep it in the refrigerator, how much to take, all this stuff. Okay, cool, cool, cool. So this is end of August. I probably got that. I don't know. It was sometime in July. Maybe early August, but I don't think so. I feel like, excuse me, I got it sometime end of July or something. Nevertheless, I just started taking it not even a week ago. So I'm gonna tell y'all my experience with sea moss. Today's day, I guess three or four of me taking it. Yeah, today's actually day 4. Which I was scared to take it because I am the kind of person that if it doesn't smell good, then I don't want to try it. Like, because I just feel like if something doesn't smell good, it doesn't taste good. And I always smell my food before I eat it. And that's how I've been since I was little. My mom said my dad was like that. And so I was scared and I told her, I'm like, it takes me a while to try new things, which that's true with all things. Like, I'm just really a very like deep thinker, and I'm an overthinker really. And so it usually takes me a while to my mind to sometimes catch up, or I guess embrace what's going on, especially if it's something that I didn't initiate. Because again, I usually think things out pretty thoroughly before I do them if it's something new. But also, too, it's like it didn't smell good. So I'm like, I don't want to take this. You know what I'm saying? But I finally, shout out to the group chat, Audrey really was like, not man up, but basically like you got to try it and this, that, and the other. And so, and I'm like, I mean, I will, because I've heard other people talk about the benefits and all this stuff. And then I even did a little bit of research, and it's like, let's say we need, and I can't remember the exact number that she said and that I saw online, but let's say we need like 100 and something, we'll say 105 because I just like that number. Let's say we need 105 vitamins and nutrients and minerals and all that to have like the perfect healthy diet. CMOS has like 90 something of it. So obviously it's like really good for you. It's supposed to help with your energy. It's supposed to help with weight loss and all these things. And so of course I want to try it, but it smells like the sea. So finally, I manned up, womaned up, whatever. And I added it to my oatmeal because a lot of my stuff is in storage. And so I don't have a blender to like do smoothies. I eat fruit every day, but I just eat fruit. I don't eat smoothies. And so I'm like, okay, well, I could just add it to my oatmeal. I cooked the oatmeal first. I didn't want to cook it in the oatmeal because I didn't want it to like the sea, because it really smells like seawater, like salty, like that, like the sea. And I have a very sensitive nose, so I didn't want it to permeate in my oatmeal to smell like sea any more than what the sea moss smells like, because as soon as you open the jar, you can smell it. And so then I tried it, and So like, okay, let me explain how it goes. It's like I take it and maybe I'm feeling all of the vitamins and nutrients rushing my blood cells or whatever. But I will say I do feel more energized after I take it, especially like the first day that I took it. I woke up feeling like groggy and had a headache and all these things. And that's kind of been a thing lately with like weather changing and whatever. Like this time of year, I kind of start struggling even with allergies and stuff. It's really weird. But so I felt that like go away, fade away, felt more energized. And it's like, I promise you, I could feel something happening. So I'm guessing it's like the vitamins and nutrients flooding my blood cells and the powers activating. And every time I take this, what I hear in my head is by the powers of Grayskull. And if you've seen He-Man, you already know. I don't know why, but I just feel like some superpowers is activating or whatever. So I have felt more energized. I've had to pee a lot more, so I don't know. I think I did see that it's a detox. So which peeing having to go pee all the time is super annoying to me. But at least I work from home, so it is what it is. I'm sure it's helping with weight loss in that way. But I was telling the group chat, I'm like, or the pod crew, so you know who I'm talking about. I was telling them the thing I hate about supplements is that okay, so if it does what it's supposed to do, okay, so then it's going to be this thing that I have to like keep doing. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't like stuff like that. Like, I like eating healthier or stuff like that. I feel like that's easier to just either do or don't do. And now I've reached this place where, like, if I eat, I feel like it's sweets. I've been trying to pinpoint exactly what it is that causes this because I've heard different things. I don't eat a ton of sweets, but if I go too crazy with it, I'm thinking that's what it is because I don't eat a lot of salt in my diet. I don't eat a ton of carbs. And a lot of that is just I don't like to feel lethargic, and so if I'm having to work a full-time job, raise my kids, keep up with podcasting, keep up with blogging, keep up with my company, and even just the content that I put out for my company, because I create all of the videos you see and put together like what I want everything to say, searching for memes, because I do just post memes that I see too. Either way, I have to do all that. And then now let's factor in now I have clients, you know what I'm saying? So I have to have energy. So that's the main reason that I switched my diet, because I don't like feeling tired when I have a lot of stuff to do. I don't like my mind feeling all cloudy. And that's kind of the way I've seen things happening, like as I've gotten older. But trying to keep up with supplements, I don't know. So we'll see. I don't really know how much left of it. I'm gonna finish the jar, stick to the script, you know what I'm saying? And maybe if it's not too expensive or whatever, but then of course that means I gotta get it from her, because I gotta get the kind that I'm used to. She has like a health and wellness thing, which I'll actually put the link to it in the episode notes. If I don't, I'm sorry, because this is just off the dome that I just decided that, and I have whatever. But otherwise, tweet at me if you want that information, if for some reason I forgot it in the episode notes, and then I will give it to you. So that's my experience with sea moss. The powers of Grayskull are with me every day, you know what I'm saying? So we will see what happens. We will see if I continue. Yeah. So next thing, it's a new segment that I've decided to add because it's called I Saw a Tweet. And for those of you that are watching, so if you're not, you totally should switch to YouTube. I'm actually going to show you the tweet. Now, I don't know if I'm going to say the name of the person if I don't know. It just kind of depends. And I'm really, as I do this, I'm going to try to stick with people I don't know unless it's something positive that the person that I know has that just really inspires me, whatever. So I'm not getting into this trying to bash people or trying to whatever. It's really more so this is a tweet that I saw and this is the thought that I had. I'm finna feel like a news reporter out here though, because I'm gonna let y'all see it. And I've, been experimenting with StreamYard because there's all kinds of things you could do. So I saw a tweet. So the first tweet that I have for y'all, I think this is the one I want to go. Yeah, y'all see it. Y'all see it. Like, I just feel so fancy right now. We got me over here. We got the tweet over there. Like, I'm out here doing big things, trying to just grow and progress. But this is, I'm going to try to every episode. Now, maybe not if I have a guest. Maybe though, because maybe they'll want to discuss the tweet too. But I just thought of this, so we'll see how it plays out. But this is a segment that I kind of want to stick with just because I want to let y'all see how I view the world. You know what I'm saying? Not just my experiences and what I go through, but my thoughts on what I see on the Twitterverse. Okay. So this one, I wanted to start with this because I thought this is super encouraging to like content creators. It's talks about podcasters, but more so just anybody that's starting out with a new creative endeavor. It says, just a reminder that if you're starting off in the land of audio storytelling, and you only listen to critically acclaimed, polished podcasts birthed by teams of established producers, of course you'll feel intimidated to make work. Listen to scrappy passion projects too. And then she says, it's good to look up to people. Okay, I actually got to look over here because it's too small on this screen. So it says, it's good to look up to people and to envision what's possible for your art, but listen to the small house parties of podcasts too. People who put out series just because. The ones singing without a good mic or an electric guitar or a sizable audience. Listen to more beginnings. Now, shout out to her. I thought that was really good. And what I really like about that is that it, for one, it's true. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like a lot of times when people start out, I've seen it in the podcast community before. And shout out to Bridget from Room for Roots. She actually did a video about this. She does Financial Fridays and just will do teachings every Friday. And she was talking about don't forsake small beginnings. And it's kind of like, here I am now, if you've watched my journey, and I'm all about the journey, the growth, starting somewhere and beginning. Like with my company, there are ultimately going to be 5 phases that I know, but knowing me, I'll add things as I continue with it. But right now I have 5 phases that I'm like, these are the 5 phases of my company. But you see, I'm only doing one right now. And so it would be really intimidating, even as a business owner, to see other people way further in their business, people who have empires, even, and I'm not talking about celebrities. I'm talking about there are people in my city, like the owner of Mixins, which is a rolled ice cream place here in Omaha. She has 2 locations now, and I follow her on Instagram because I love that she gives like business tips and all that stuff, but also seeing her life. She's traveling, she's doing this, she's doing that, she has meet and greets, blah, 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 blah. Mixins just celebrated its 3rd birthday. So me in year 1, and I officially launched end of July and just had my first client within the last week. You know what I'm saying? It could be super intimidating. And if I'm looking at her and I'm comparing myself to her or these other even larger businesses and feel like, dang, I'm only doing this. You know what I'm saying? Then let's take it to content creating. When I started out, I didn't even have video at first. And then even when I have video at first, I've grown even in like, you see the Tamara to the Break of Dawn at the top, hosted by Tamara at the bottom. Like, I've just continued to grow. And I think it's super important that you don't compare yourself to other people and where they're at in their journey. Your journey is your journey. You start, you be consistent, you get around people who are like minded that can encourage and inspire you to grow, and you do the dang thing. You know what I'm saying? So, wanted to give a shout out to that tweet because I saw that tweet and I just thought that was really good. Now, number two, shout out to this person because this is actually the tweet that inspired the birthing of this segment on my show, because it really was mind blowing to me that there were options. And I actually have thought about this tweet every time I've taken a shower. So let me explain. She says, I didn't realize that people face different directions when they shower. It totally blew my mind. When you take a shower, do you face forward, backwards, or are you a spinner? Okay. So here's the thing, okay? Because like I retweeted this and I was like, both of them, because how do you only face one way in the shower and call yourself clean? How do you, and I'm not going to get all super deep into my shower routine, but I'm sorry, depending on what body part I'm cleaning, I'll just say that will depend on what way I'm facing. And it is more of a 360 because you got to get all parts of your body. But how are you clean if you only face forward? Like, I don't care if you're rubbing the wash rag or whatever you use across the back of your body. You have to at the very least turn around to rinse the water off. Like, how does that make sense for you to only face forward? How does that make sense to only face backwards? Like, that's something that, and I don't remember really teaching my kids like turn around in the shower, because that was just kind of something that's like, I feel common sense. But I bet you if I was to poll all three of my children, they would say 360, however they would say it. Like, how do you only face forward? And how do you choose that you only face that direction? Like, and what about your sock? Like, what? You nasty, you're not clean. And it's kind of crazy that this coming out, because we've seen all these people that say they take showers once a week or they take showers, whatever. We're seeing this whole thing with a lot of these celebrities. And I'm like, why do we need this information? You really could have kept that to yourself. I didn't need that. But this tweet, every time I get in the shower, eventually I'll get over it. But every time I get in the shower, because I kind of just saw this within the last few days, I think like how, and I never thought about it before, but like, how do you only choose one way? I don't understand. That's nasty. You're not clean, okay? If you're out here just facing forward, lovingly, respectfully, you're dirty, because there is a part of your body that is missing the water, the soap, and all these things. I don't care if, like I said, you rub a dub dub with the soap, you have to turn around to rinse it off. But really, like I said, for me, depending on what body part I'm washing, I'm going to be just facing a certain direction for the duration of cleaning that body part, because there's the soap, there's also rinsing to make sure you're not leaving, especially as a female, make sure you're not leaving soap, really as anybody, but it's making sure like everything is rinsed out. And so I saw that tweet and here we are. So the third one, I don't know how many tweets maybe we'll always have three. Maybe we'll just have one or two. It kind of will just depend on how the week in Twitter is and what really moves me, whatever. I'll at least have one. You know what I'm saying? This third tweet, and this is how I'm going to end the show because, it's a great point to end. So She says, I genuinely don't understand why this generation insists on pretending like we don't all want intimacy and love. Psychology says it's a basic need, and we make it harder on ourselves by trying to be cold hearted. Shout out to her. Twitter could be a wild, wild place, but Twitter can also have some facts out there. We were all created to desire relationships with others. That's how we were created. And it's unfortunate if we've been through hurt and heartache and pain and just the trials of life that cause us to feel like we don't need it, but that is not how you were created. That is you walking around in your woundedness. We don't come out of the womb talking about some solo dolo in this thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were all created to desire relationships. So my encouragement to you, if you are someone who's talking that stuff right now as I'm saying this, or even as I was reading that tweet and you're like, nah, I don't need nobody, da 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 da, that's not true. And I encourage you to process the issues of your heart. I encourage you to go to therapy. I encourage you to, I don't know, go to church, like get a relationship with the Lord. But even with that, because I do have a relationship with God, I'm not someone who thinks that just because I have a relationship with God, that means that therapy isn't helpful, because it is good to have somebody to process certain things with. You know what I'm saying? I just finished doing 5 weeks of Fresh Start. I kind of talked about that, where I was processing the issues of my heart. But that's an ongoing thing, because life is going to always give you an opportunity to either be wounded or walk in freedom, depending on what you try to do with what happens to you. And so even though I did the 5 weeks, I'm still there having an opportunity where you can do something a little more ongoing. And I'm going to do it just because that was just the start. You know what I'm saying? Like, as I started processing the issues of my heart, and as there were other things going on in my life that I'm not going to get into that at this point, but there were other interactions I was having with people. It made me realize, like, the responses that I've had to certain things, or even just not feeling as free to be whatever, is not healthy. So it's kind of like, what is stopping me from doing whatever I want to do, or being how I want to be, or interacting with people how I want to interact, or whatever is stopping that. That's something that I need to address and start the process of finding healing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, stop being out here trying to act like you don't need nobody, and you don't, because really it's just unfortunate that whatever you've been through has caused you to think that you don't need anybody, and caused you to think that no one will ever care, and no one will ever whatever. And I do think it's important to have good boundaries, not have toxic relationships and all that, but also find your tribe. You know what I'm saying? There are people in this world. Look at the pod crew. Very organically came together, the five of us, and I couldn't imagine my days without them, because we talk every day. You know what I'm saying? And so, and it's crazy because it's all virtually, because I haven't met any of them yet. But it doesn't make our relationship any less real, because what started in these Twitter streets has gone to the group chat, has gone to movie nights, and or just emergency meetings, as we like to call it, just because. But other friendships I have, because I do have friends outside of that. You know what I'm saying? I am super appreciative, even as I'm looking for a house today. I'm off today. That's why I'm recording in the middle of the day. And went to go look at a house, liked the house. There were some, red flags, because it doesn't matter. So got the email that's like, oh, do you want to apply for this house? I saw who the management company is. So one of the things I've really gotten into is reviews, looking up reviews of management companies, because if it's a private owner, that may be a little bit harder to figure out, although you may be able to. But for these management companies, somebody, if you are trash or whatever, somebody did a bad review. The sad thing is, people don't always do good reviews. But you best believe that if you pissed enough people off, there are going to be enough reviews out there. And so I looked up the company. Man, y'all, 1.3 out of 5, like 1.3. Like no, and I went through all the reviews. They were, and some of the things were consistent with the things that I saw when I got there that made me kind of like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like they're not lying because I saw this, and this that makes sense, that had me kind of wondering, that lines up with what they're saying. But as I kept looking, because sometimes it is one or two people that they're just mad or they're just whatever. I get that that's in the world, but nobody had anything good to say. Nobody would give them 2. Everybody gave them 1. Everybody almost said, I wish I could give them 0. Everybody said the same thing. And so then I have a small group, my church, and I just kind of and I feel like God really be looking out for me. I always say that he really do. And I message them and I'm like, hey, this is super random, but have any of you guys heard of this management company? One person said they hadn't. One person said they hadn't had any personal experience with them, but they went as far as to do a search for me. And he was like, they have a lot of lawsuits out against them under this company and this company. So proceed with caution. And I'm like, or not proceed, because that's way too many red flags. Like, I'm just trying to have a place to stay. I'm not trying to have to deal with all that. But that's the beauty of having people, because had I not have even did the review search, because people did those reviews, but those are not people I have relationship with. Had I not asked, hey, has anybody just randomly heard of this? People that I have relationship with, that I trust, that I know have not only my best interest at heart, but my kids' best interest at heart. Now I'm going to take that more, there's going to be more weight in that than even the reviews on the internet, because I know people can be petty. But again, nobody could give them a good review. You know what I'm saying? So again, if you're out here trying to act like you don't need love, don't desire intimacy, please stop lying to yourself. Please do what you need to do to heal, be healthy, so that you can love, be loved, so that you can feel like you're worthy of it. Because that's the thing too, is that when we go through so many things, our heart will harden. We'll feel like we're not worthy of certain things, and then we settle. We accept things that are unhealthy, or toxic, because we don't feel like we're worthy of healthy forms of friendship, love, hell, business partnership, whatever. That's why I always talk about being healthy mentally, emotionally. And I always say that first, because that is with you. That is kind of like anybody relates to that. Now, I do talk about being spiritually healthy too, because I am a firm believer that that's important. But not everybody resonates with that, though we all do have a spirit, and it should be healthy. Like all of us should be healthy. You know what I'm saying? But I always start with mentally and emotionally, because I feel like for the most part, those are the more heavier determined, or they take most control, or I don't know how I'm trying to say this, but they have more control over how we do what we do, even sometimes over us being spiritually healthy. So you got to be mentally and emotionally healthy. You know what I'm saying? You can't be, I'm 41. I can't be 41 out here having the emotional maturity of my 17-year-old. Like what? You know what I mean? So it's kind of like I talk about what I'm walking out. That's why this is my life and the ways I'm trying to grow. You know what I'm saying? That's why I share with y'all, hey, I realized certain things. So I went through Fresh Start to kind of like, and I just realized that was just the beginning, and I got some more work to do. And it's okay, because it doesn't mean I'm just forever broken. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I realize there are things that within me that are not healthy, that I got to do what I got to do to be able to have a healthy interaction, outlook, perspective on the relationship and the world around me. I also talk about being physically healthy. We got one body, and you got to be healthy. You got to have the energy. You got to have whatever to be able to do what you want to do out here. You know what I'm saying? Like if I want to work a full-time job, run a business, have a podcast, a blog, the brand will be launching The plan is for it to launch this month. So all these things I'm trying to do, I got to have the energy to do that. I got to take care of myself. Also, like real talk, if I'm going to be putting these videos up every week, that's another thing. Like when I look at myself as I'm recording, I want to feel like I like what I see. Like this is all about me. This ain't about nobody else. And it's not about a lack of self-love, because I've loved myself at every size. But at the same time, if you want to change something and you're unhappy with something, do what you got to do to change it. Don't just complain about it and do nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you're out here physically healthy, and make sure you're healthy in your relationships. You know what I'm saying? Like that's pretty self-explanatory. Don't be out here being toxic. I say it's self-explanatory and then I explain. Don't be out here being toxic. Don't be out here cold-hearted, acting like you don't care when you do. And that's we'll get into that later, but that's something that I had to check myself on, something where I realized I wasn't free enough, I guess, to be true about how I felt about something. And that's what made me realize, like, okay, you got some more work to do, homegirl. So make sure you're being healthy in your relationships, because when you're hurt, you hurt other people. It's a common saying, hurt people hurt people. You know what I'm saying? Hurt people do not make the world a better place when they're out here operating out of their hurt. So that's my encouragement to y'all. Like I said, podcast happy hour this month will be on Audrey's platform. More to come on that. And then we got the karaoke battle coming up in October, and then November. 2 years in this thing, and I'll be hosting podcast happy hour in November. So that's kind of cool, because it'll be able, a cool way for me to celebrate my 2-year anniversary. So that's all I got for y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Y'all will see me soon. I don't know why I be saying I'm gonna see y'all, because I can't see y'all, but y'all know what I mean. Bye.
Ladies and gents, this concludes transmission. Tune in next time for a whole new edition. Another adventure and mission to share, be heard, and clarify the vision of this whole new world for